Hello everyone, and welcome to day 3 of a video a day for the rest of lockdown, God help us. Today, I'm going to teach you how to Bernie. So yes, you might be wondering, is it too late to learn how to make a Bernie Sanders Bullock? Bernie Sanders meme? And the answer is no, it's never too late to meme. So today I'm going to teach you. It's going to be quite quick, but if you are slow of reading and listening, then you can pause the video and go through the steps yourself. Here we go. Open up Photoshop. You're going to want yourself a 1080 by 1350 canvas size, which is perfect for Instagram, to get the most height on the feed and to really just, you know, dominate the feed. Go into Google. We're going to look for Bernie Sanders. Going to go to images, and of course, he's going to be everywhere. Look at this. Someone's already made a little caricature of him. That's not good because we want the full chair, legs hitting the floor and everything, so we've got to find it. It's not there. Bernie Sanders in chair. Someone's probably chopped him out already. Look at that. He's already been made into a PNG for us. So simply look up Bernie Sanders PNG and go ahead and download this one here. Come over to Photoshop, open her up into downloads, and there he is, already chopped out for us. Well, this video is going to be really simple. Here we go, we've got Bernie Sanders chopped out for us, but what I see going wrong with the Bernie Sanders meme is people aren't digging him into the scene. People aren't grounding him with shadows and colour matching. So, we're going to do that. Where could be a funny place to put him? Tell you what, I'm going to go onto my Facebook and I'm going to go back many decades. When looking for photos, to make sure you really get it, you really sell it, you want to look for a quality size that's about the same. That wasn't explained very well. But essentially what you want to do is, if your photo is quite pixelated, look at how pixelated Bernie is and think, is it going to match? God, we're way back now, back into when I drank my first beer. Don't think that'll work. Ah, here we go. Will this work? Alright, nice and simple. Command-Shift-4 lets you select what part of the screen you want to grab, and let's chuck that in there. Okay, this might work. Bring Bernie to the top. Press V for your move tool and start to place him. Command T, it's going to bring your transform tool up. Now, this is where it's going to get tricky. We effectively have to make him the correct size depending on where he's going to be in the scene. If he's right next to me, what's that going to look like? I don't think we want him right next to me though, so let's make him smaller and think, where is he going to be depending on how small he is. That looks somewhat realistic, I think. Maybe a touch bigger. You can also use your pretty 3 little fingers on your right to use your arrows when you have the move tool selected to move him ever so slightly. And if you hit shift and use the arrows, you're going to move him 10 pixels to the left or right. No shift, 1 pixel each time you hit the arrow. Right, I think I'm happy with the burns to there. Next part. Quite a lot of contrast here. So, what we want to do is match this shadow with Bernie's shadow, and then match the shadows on Bernie with these shadows. So we've got a hell of a lot of shadow on the right hand side, so let's start with that. Come down to here, select a new layer. You're going to create an exposure layer. You're going to bring it way down to about there. Then click on this little white box, Command I, invert your mask. Click B for your brush tool, make that bigger. Also make it hardness of 0%. You can do that up here. or you can do it by holding Control and Option on a Mac, not sure what it is on a boring person's laptop, and then you can click and drag left and right for size, and click and drag up and down for hardness. Flow, low flow, maybe 9%, we'll see how we go. Make sure down here the colour white is selected. You can do this by pressing D, which defaults it to black and white, and then click X to flick back and forth between black and white. White's going to paint stuff onto him, in this case paint our exposure back. Black is going to take it away, so paint on, take away. Final thing you want to do, come back over to your exposure layer, click Option, and click the little line in between the two layers, which is going to clip the exposure layer to the Bernie layer. So what we do in this layer is only going to affect the Burnster. And start getting that very high contrast split shadow on Bernie. The light sort of wraps a bit more. Cool, I'm pretty happy with that. Yes. Now, new layer, same thing again, color balance. Option, click the line in between so that we clip it to our Bernie. And then we're just going to try and start messing around with these sliders. You've got midtones, shadows, highlights. Start messing around with them to try and create the same sort of looking color as we have on the other side there. A lot of browns, a lot of warm colors. Highlights are pretty warm. Highlights are also very blown out, so we'll fix that in a second. Cool. Don't think that looks too terrible, so let's move on. One more exposure layer. I'm going to crank this way up. Clip it to our little Bernie. Our little Bernie, our little Bernie. You guessed it, Command I, invert. Bang, back in we go. We're going to paint on our highlight, but we're going to make it a bit more, a bit harsher. Bring the flow up a bit more. Cool. Now it sort of looks like the light is coming from the left. Come under here, select all of your Bernie layers, convert to smart object. Now we've just got a whole Bernie. Creating the shadow is the final bit to really tie it into this scene. So you're going to click Command J, which is going to duplicate this layer. Command T, transform, right click, and click Distort. Now we can drag him any which ways we want to. Like this. Now, this is just all about sort of messing around. Do the mess around. Doesn't have to be crazy accurate, but just has to match the sort of angle of this shadow. So, once you've done that, bring it underneath your initial Bernie layer. Come up to Image. Click. Adjustments. Exposure. Crush it. Bang. Totally black. Right click and rasterize that layer. We want to fade out this shadow, because that's what shadows do. The further away they get, the more they fade. This is very, very... It's a bit too harsh, a bit unrealistic looking here. So, come into our exposure. Click. Come into our little shadow layer. Click. New. Click the mask tool. Now click the gradient tool, which is the letter G. Click into old Bernie, and then we're going to draw our way out. Again, just experiment with this. See what you have to do to get rid of him. That'll probably work there. We also want to come into the image, blur, Gaussian blur, and just blur that shadow out a bit. We're selling it. We're selling it. Another way to do this sort of gradient drop off is to get your brush tool, and then you can draw on the same mask with a soft, low flow brush and just sort of fade it out a bit. Convert those 2 layers again to a smart object so everything's in one. So we've got like that there. I'm going to go to blur, Gaussian blur, and just a tiny amount, 0.3. And there you have it. Now, another thing you could do is draw a bit of grass onto him. So let's look at how we do that. Come to here. Come back to our original layer. Create a new layer above it. Then we're going to click S for the clone stamp tool. I'm going to sample an area of grass near old Burnster. We want to make sure all layers are selected here. There's a bit of grass. And we're just going to sample the grass so that it sort of molds in. Like that. And there you have it. I think it looks pretty good for a 20-minute attempt at it. Go away, do this. It's not too late to Bernie. It's never too late to jump on a meme train. Make sure when you're telling your grandkids about the Bernie Sanders meme that you were there and you did one. Day 3 over. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.